But this is the problem, which is what you're pointing out, Dr. DeClue, is that the marketability of the academic theologian today mitigates or enveys against this, because you have to make yourself marketable, and you do that by being distinctive. And this ties into the hyper-specialization early on, which is what you're saying about quantum mechanics. That comes later after you jump straight there, because I'm not going to get a job unless I'm an expert on some interesting but obscure figure or topic.
See why. That shouldn't matter for serving the church in theology.
That's right.
That theology is being perverted by those factors.
Yes.
Same thing for philosophy. We could do a similar story for philosophy, actually. But yeah, I guess. And
that's like the problem. Like, how do we? Now, the seminary, it's clear, but then this is back to the lay theologian versus clerical. Your heart goes out, lay theologian. To get a job and to be hired and get tenure.
Yeah, and Richard and I are in a situation where maybe you have a bigger heart than I am, that you're more concerned with this issue, but we're both not in that environment. I teach for seminary and do translating work, and you're involved with Word on Fire, right? So like, it is a real issue. This is a real problem for lay theologians, because none of us have gone the direction of lay theologians have caused this problem, right? We've not gone there, which is not where we're looking to go, right? But there's an issue that's there. That's like, how do you deal with that very fact? It's a very real fact that's not going to change tomorrow. You can't just romantically blink something new into existence. So I'm just echoing back, really, if that's all.
In some cases, it's a problem that's hard to solve, because if you say, well, we want a theologian to teach the Intro to Sacraments course, well, they may not have studied that themselves. They may have studied some very particular element of 14th century rituals of the anointing of the sick or something, and now you're being asked to study the general treatise, to teach the general treatise on sacraments. I think that it's a hard problem to solve, precisely because we're kind of behind, as it were.
So that's fascinating. So what you're pointing to is the fact that your academic training is not actually proportioned to pedagogy, even in the university setting, where you'd have a course on sacramental theory, but when you went through the university yourself, you specialized in like this obscure thing. And so like, actually, you weren't prepared for your job, but the only way you could get hired for your job was by doing something that wouldn't prepare you for your job. Is that, yeah.
I think the more we can point out to people that the courses that are needed are actually the more general things, the books that are needed are the more general things. And I think there could be some buy-in to that. I've heard that enough. People say, yeah, that's interesting, but it's pretty particular. What actually is needed in service of the church are books and courses that treat more generally some aspect of Catholic theology.
I would say just a couple things. One, I do see some value within the Catholic Church, at least, of the ecclesiastical degree system, helps mitigate that a little bit, because it's very different than the standard secular MA PhD program, which, for clerics, it's pretty much identical, because you have the extra coursework while you're in seminary, because it's already a longer program anyway, so you actually get that. So like going like the STB, STL, THD route, you do get a broader thing, but even there tends to be in the classroom a lot of insert your favorite professor here, which sort of negates that. And there's also just the ongoing issue of, we talk about magisterial texts and how important they are for learning. And of course, you don't want people coming out with doctorates that don't know anything about the contemporary conversation, where they haven't heard about what any of the contemporary or modern people have been saying. That would be bad too. But the reality of it is, year after year, the number of sources that one would need to have to engage with grows and grows and grows. I mean, you look at the number of encyclicals that someone like Pope St. John Paul II wrote, or Leo XIII, or, and every time another one comes out, it's another source that is there for being consulted. And obviously you have to pick and choose, because you can't just cover everything. But that's also a real problem, because, we want you to become masters of the Bible and patristics and scholastics and know about the modern stuff and learn the languages and do all of that. And you've got a few years to do it. It's just, I think that's part of the reason it just ends up being fragmented. Well, I'm going to go do this part, you do that part. And, but then you sort of lose the sense of the cohesion that enables the conversations that are needed to advance the science as a single science.